Okay, my darlings, just want to remind you where we started last week. Hopefully this one has been sinking into your consciousness for a while. Can we just take a look at this affirmation? Here it comes. Together. I am free to prosper. One more time. I am free to prosper. Just check in with you and how that feels when you say those words out of your mouth. Do you agree with that? Does your subconscious agree with that? Because if it doesn't, you'll have a little bit of, not every day. I can't prosper every day, or not as much as I want. Just notice what's going on. What's going on? I'm free to prosper. And prospering can mean something else for everyone. I'm going to pause for a moment. That's okay. No sense giving you two things to watch at the same time. Have you thought about what prosperity means to you? Does it mean like a nice house or a car that actually drives, starts when you turn the key? Although no keys anymore, wow. Does prosperity mean that you've got all that you need to be able to acquire the services that you need? That you're getting paid a decent amount of money for the work that you do? There's a roof over your head, there's food in your kitchen. Means different things to different people. But the truth is, we're all free to experience whatever the prosperity is that our heart desires. It's just really, 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 really important. It's really, really important to understand how that prosperity presents itself in life. To say that I'm free to prosper means guaranteed, absolutely. The question is, how? And the most important thing that we really need to understand is what prosperity is. And it begins with that spiritual energy of God. That is not God giving energy or God giving prosperity. It's God expressing as that word that starts with an S that we talked about last week. Substance, look at you. Gosh, you just make me feel so good. All right, so our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, wrote about it in his book called Prosperity. It's really quite a profound book if you want to lay your hands on that. You can go to unity.org to find a copy. And he says this, he says, the spiritual substance from which comes all visible wealth is never depleted. So there's two important things there. First of all, that everything that we consider prosperity or wealth comes from it. And secondly, it's never depleted. So can you see how you're free to prosper? All right, he says, it's right with you all the time and responds to your faith in it and your demands on it. It's not affected by our ignorant talk of hard times, though we are affected because our thoughts and words govern our demonstration. So let me just clarify that. It's not affected by recessions or inflation because it is an absolute principle. It can't be changed, it can't be reduced or done away with. It's always there, but it can seem reduced to us. Why? If we use ignorant talk of hard times, for instance, we'll talk about other ways. So he goes on to say, the unfailing resource is always ready to give. It must give, for that is its nature. Pour your living words of faith into the omnipresent substance, and you will be prospered, though all the banks in the world close their doors. Turn the great energy of your thinking toward plenty ideas, and you will have plenty regardless of what people about you are saying or doing. What's an example of a plenty idea? There is enough. Say it again. I have enough.
Good health.
Good health.
I am enough.
I am enough. Hey, we got a fight in here. Everybody's wanting to say the same thing. Think of the grains of sand on a beach. Plenty of grains of sand. Think of the oxygen in the air. Plenty of oxygen to be had. and you will have plenty. When you keep your consciousness going on the idea that there's always enough, now we are in alignment with that divine substance. So what we're trying to do here is shift our consciousness to an awareness that God doesn't give us substance, but God is expressing as that omnipresence substance, that spiritual energy everywhere, right here with us. It's never depleted. So all we need to do is what? We're going to talk about that today. But really, it's as close as your thought about substance. And we direct it with our thoughts, with our words, with our own energy, with our plenty ideas. John Randolph Price talked about money. But before we get to that, let me show you money. Anybody seen one of these before? We're rich, right? $20. Now, isn't it funny? You know, we have different points of view about this, don't we? A child would hold this in their hand and go, wow, $20. Dad, Mom, I got $20. You know, if you worked all week and your employer handed you this, what would you think? Not very much. So it's relative, right? And we keep track of this pretty closely. Many of us do, about how much is in our wallet or how much is in our bank account. This piece of paper is important to us. And when we look at it, we also think, this actually could go away. Or I might not be able to lay my hands on it when I need it. So what I want us to do today is look at money differently and think of it as just a symbol of representation for something else. This is what Price says up here on the screen for money. It's an acronym, MONEY, my own natural energy yield. MONEY, my own natural energy yield. So think of this, that every time you see money, it's just a representation of your own energy yield. And your own energy yield is yours to not manufacture, but to direct, so to speak, because you've always got it. The energy is just spiritual substance. You've always got it available to you. But how you direct it determines how it yields into this piece of paper or some kind of material goods or services. But this isn't where your substance lies. Your substance begins in the invisible. So every time you touch this, I want you to think this represents infinity. It's just that I've decided that this particular piece of paper is going to represent about $20 worth, whatever that means to you, okay? So we all possess this inherent energy with us, and we all determine how much of this we're going to yield. On here, on the screen again, Price says, money is my very essence, which when properly expressed, he's talking about the essence, not the money. When properly expressed essence, it returns to me as an all-sufficiency of legal tender to be used in exchange for goods and services. Does that ring a bell? Is that making sense? Okay, I didn't see any heads nod. So let's just see if we can look at this from a different point of view. All right, so this past couple weekends ago, I was taking some time off and hanging out with my sister who lives out in the country. And her house, her piece of property is just a house and a yard, but the yard's like 2 to 3 acres. And on each side, sides, back, and across the street front, all cornfields. And so when I got there, they were all still standing, just really, the very light tan color, because they're done. They're done growing, they're done expressing, they're done. And so she said, why don't we take a turn around the yard? As who would say that? Jane Austen. Let's take a turn around the yard. Okay, arm in arm. And we probably walked, I don't know, it's like maybe a half a mile, like around her yard. And as we walked right up against the cornfields, you could see stalk after stalk after stalk with these big, let's take a show here, big corn ears, like bursting out of their husk. Everywhere. And you're thinking, where's Mr. Farmer or Ms. Farmer? She's got this huge field of good waiting to be harvested. I wonder why it's still standing on the stalk. And we got busy talking about why. And that really didn't matter so much to my talk this morning as that quote that Jesus said that reminds me of this. He said, in John chapter 4. He said, don't you have a saying, 4 more months and then the harvest? Well, what I say to you is open your eyes and look at the fields. They're already ripe for harvest. So January, ripe for harvest. April, ripe for harvest. December, ripe for harvest. Our fields of gold are always ripe for harvest. And that gold, even though it looks like corn in this ear, it's just another demonstration, like this $20 bill, corn, $20 bill, same thing, all substance. Are you starting to put this together now? Okay, thanks for that one yes, Kevin. I appreciate that. Thanks for keeping up with me. So the question is, how do we manifest it? And how do we, if I were given this field to manifest, I wouldn't begin to know what I could do with it. I'd probably go out there and start picking by hand, and it would all be rotten by the time I got to the end of it. But the farmer doesn't do that. The farmer gets out some harvesting equipment, often known as a grain combine. So let's take a look here. There's a picture up here on the screen of what that grain combine looks like. And it's got a procedure that you use. I did a little research on it. So it has these row dividers. They're really huge. They're giant. They're like a house almost that they're driving around. And it's got these little pointy things, that I'm sure have a name, that separate the rows of corn. And have you noticed over time how the rows have gotten closer and closer and closer together so you can hardly walk through a field anymore? This little big massive combine has a way of separating them all out, pulling them up from the ground. They are able to disconnect, to break off the corn. This is a machine. It knows where the little ear is, breaks it off, it shoves it down into the combine, and it drops the stalk back onto the ground. Isn't that amazing? Who thought of that? It's a divine idea, right? That's just another demonstration of a divine idea. And how much more prosperous did farmers become suddenly? That not only did they not have to do all the work and take all the time, but they could grow even more because they've got this equipment that could get it in on time. Does that make sense? Wow. To me, that's just a divine idea. And then, as you notice, this little picture down here, wow, that's the cash, that's the money. So it's just pouring out of this spout into a truck that's sitting, a semi-truck that's sitting there next to them, pouring out, and then they're going to head off down to some grain buyer and cash it in. But it started where? What was the beginning of that cash? Oh, even before that. The thought, an idea. Somebody had an idea, I'm going to be a farmer. And then they waited for the next idea to do something. Okay, I think I should buy some seed. And they go get their seed, they plant it, they nurture it for a while. It starts to grow, just a little sprout first, the stalk, then the ear comes out, then the grain on the ear. But why, look, that's a scripture, I think, that Jesus said. That's the process of substance becoming manifest. But it started first as an idea. All of the things involved in this harvesting process began as divine ideas, and it turns into this golden grain that we cash in for a piece of paper that we then go out and spend. But it was all substance in expression. Even ideas are substance in expression. Now, at any time, there could be improper care of that grain combine. So a few things that could happen is your feeder house could go bad. You could have a dirty cleaning shoe fan. We all know what that's like, right? Missing elevator paddles. You just never know where those things run off to. So if any of that might happen to your grain combine, it ruins your harvesting experience. And suddenly your prosperity goes down the toilet. So for us, we have a grain combine, but it's not a piece of equipment. When it comes to us harvesting our gold, that begins in the mind. And so it's not a missing grain or elevator paddle. It is what we talk about. It's what we think about. It's how we feel. That is our improper use, our version. It might sound like, I just don't know how I'm going to pay my bills this month. Or can you believe how much groceries cost? I don't think I'm going to be able to keep buying the way I used to buy. It's those kinds of conversations that are basically, wedging a block into our grain combine so that we're not going to be able to harvest that infinite realm of divine substance. So Find yourself laying awake at night, not enough. Oh, money is flying everywhere around here. That's how substance is. It just flies out of the air for us, yeah? Let's make sure we keep that in mind. But as soon as our motive for becoming prosperous is fear, we're trying to control somebody else or trying to look good in somebody else's eyes, again, we're mucking up our grain combine so we can't harvest our good. So how do we express my own natural energy yield in a prosperous way? This is how we're going to do it. If it seems absent to you right now, just realize it's because you have either forgotten or you're unaware of your field to begin with and what it is. Spiritual, omnipresent energy that we form with our faith and imagination. And we have to first, as I said, really important, understand the nature of that and how we bring it forth. Our faith is defined by Charles Fillmore was, I always have to think, because we had to memorize this, the perceiving power of mind linked with the power to shape substance. The perceiving power of mind, this is what faith is. Your ability to see into the invisible realm and know it is there so deeply in your heart that knowing causes it to shape into your heart's desire. So we definitely want to include our faith in all of these steps, but I put together a maintenance guide for prosperity consciousness today so that we are always in shape and ready to harvest. Now, this maintenance guide up here on the screen, I called it Maintenance Guide for Prosperity Consciousness, not just prosperity, because without the consciousness, you can't have prosperity. So today we're going to work on what's going on inside our consciousness, our awareness, our belief system. And the first step in your maintenance guide is daily meditation. It's not meditation that focuses on that thing that you want or that experience you're trying to have. We talk about doing that regularly, but what we're talking about today is prosperity consciousness that begins with a meditation on God as your all-sufficiency. God is your all-sufficiency. God is the substance that you're seeking to form. And we have to begin to just meditate on that and be aware of it in our meditation. Just feel the energy all around us. That temperature that's touching your skin right now is still, even though we might call it oxygen, it's still oxygen expressing from that divine substance. So just notice that. You're surrounded by these golden snowflakes, as Charles Fillmore put it. All around you. Just sit there and meditate on that idea. And that it goes out and out and out into the universe, never to run dry. Meditate on that idea because that's your idea of enough to know God as substance that can't be depleted. Meditate on it as that which makes up your body, the energy in your skin, the energy of every organ is substance. And it's of God and it's whole and complete. That's why we say these affirmations when we're seeking healing in the body. I am perfect, whole, and complete, because we're talking about the divine energy, which is that. So let's affirm this for our daily meditation together. God within me is my instant, constant, abundant supply. As I awaken to this infinite substance, I am prosperous. As I awaken to it, as I become aware that it's available, that is what makes me prosperous, is in my thoughts. So we're not meditating on the getting of something or having a specific experience. We're meditating on the source of all the things, the source of all the experiences that we're seeking, because the source is always giving. It's like the kid going into the candy store is like, wow. That's pretty good. It's all available to us if we just understand it, if we open our heart to it. And then the second step in our maintenance guide has to do with visualization. We talk about this often, but instead, again, of visualizing that thing that we want or that experience we want to have, we want to visualize that substance. Want to see it sparkling in our mind's eye everywhere. See it begin as this bright light in your own heart. And then send it out in your mind's eye. See it going as a stream of light out into the world. Almost like let's take it from the heart up through the top of your head like a fountain. Now it's a fountain of divine energy, light, sparkling. And as it comes down, it starts to spread out and it starts to go all out into the world around you, and it's circling the globe. And as it's reaching out to these people, it's creating this, it's like a bridge to you, from you to all other beings. So you are carrying this idea of divine substance to all other beings, supporting their prosperity. You're directing it toward them because you know there's plenty to be had. And part of our job is to make sure that we're holding it in consciousness for them. So we see that going out like a bridge connecting us to all other beings, and their hearts are open and receiving that substance joyfully and gratefully. Now we've got a bridge of light, of substance between us and all other beings. And you know who those beings are? They become channels. They become channels for your good. That's why suddenly you can experience a manifest form of this substance in your life, as might show up as somebody sending you some money in the mail that you didn't even know. I've had that happen. Or suddenly you're being offered a job that you didn't even know that, you were applying for, but it's the perfect job for you. You won't know who or how it's going to come to you, and that is not important. It's keeping the light bridge connected to your infinite channels. You never know what spirit is going to use in order to bless us. So just imagine that with your visualization, because it strengthens your connective energy to those people, and see that supply returning back to you on waves. It just keeps coming and coming and engulfing you. It's like, oh, wow, this is good. See that in your mind's eye. Are you with me? Yeah. Okay, thank you. I think we had 3 or 4 that time. All right, so here's our affirmation for visualization. Together, divine substance flows through me as a bridge to the world and returns to me through infinite channels. Okay, one of the ways that we keep that bridge connected is through the energy of love. So that's our next step in the maintenance guide, is to maintain a loving energy. And I understand on those days, especially if you're struggling with money, it's hard to feel love for the whole world. You're too self-focused at that time. So do this, start with love for yourself. Imagine that there is love in spirit. I like to think of all my loved ones who've passed and are just like sitting in the observation chairs going, we love you so much, Kitty. I wish you could feel our love for you right now. We love you so much. So I just sit there and imagine that. I imagine anybody that's assigned in the spiritual realm to be a support or a guide to me, sending love. I imagine the love that's just in the atmosphere around me, because it's substance expressing as love. It's all the same stuff, has a character of love. And what does that mean? It's working for my good. It's seeking my good. It wants my good for me. So I need to align with that love in order to receive my prosperity. I need to be at that same frequency, or else it's ships passing in the night. Spirit's trying to guide me to something that's loving for me, and I totally miss it because I'm down here in anger or frustration or fear or worry or doubt. So I have to get up into that energy of love for others. Hey, listen, I haven't tested this out, so I could be wrong about this, but I think that one of the number one reasons why we have a hard time loving everyone, for the people that we can't love easily, it might just be because we think they're in the way of our good. Is that possible? That one of the reasons we can't love someone is because they're in the way of our good. And is it possible that once you get the idea they can't ever be in the way of your good because of that infinite realm of divine substance, then it's easy to love everyone? Okay, that's what I'm saying. So thank you for testing it for me. Yes. So once you get concepts 1 and 2 here, you've got your substance idea everywhere present, and you're visualizing it and connecting with all beings. You're happy to connect with these beings. You want them to experience their good, because when they are starting to experience their good, which is your form of love, now they're just as happy as everybody else. They're just as easy to get along as everybody else, right? Because they're all prospering. Is this making sense? Hopefully. Okay. Thank you for joining in. So it's No love, no bridge connection. No love, no ability to receive from the infinite channels. Here's the universe out there loving you and working for your good, and you're like, down below underneath the bed somewhere, it can't find you. So find that energy of love which seeks and desires good for all beings, including yourself. And the more we can get into that desire for all beings, the more connected we are to those channels of our supply. So let's speak this together for our affirmation of love. Divine substance pours through me as love, blessing the world with infinite good. Okay, our fourth step here is in establishing our prosperity consciousness is gratitude. We talk about, using gratitude regularly. Why? Because it raises our energy again. It puts us back up there in alignment with divine substance and our channels for it. So spend some time daily thinking of what you are grateful for until you literally feel it in your energy. I mean, it's nice when you can look out and see things and go, oh, that feels good. I'm so grateful. Like today I was driving into Unity and there was our sand crane crossing the street, coming to Unity for church. And my heart just went, boom, blum, blum, blum. I'm so thankful for our sand crane who comes to Unity on Sunday mornings. I looked at our building. I looked at the gorgeous trees. So grateful for those. Think of the people that are special in your life and how grateful you are for those. There's probably been one or two answers that you've received in your life to your problems. Yes, be grateful for those solutions that have come to you and the material goods that has already come to you in your life. Spend time feeling it until your energy is vibrating at that frequency, and now you're in alignment to receive it. Now you're maintaining joy and connection to all your channels. That gratitude first, you don't wait till the thing shows up to be thankful. That's typical, when we say thank you, it's because someone gave it to us. But the trick here is to be thankful before you've received your desire. So let me share a story with you from Joseph Murphy, The Cosmic Power Within You. This was written probably in 1960. So a maid was putting aside $3 a week out of her meager wages in order to buy a car. She sat down one night and wrote a letter to herself in order to impress her subconscious mind with the idea of a car. The gist of her letter was that she gave thanks to God for the lovely car that she now had and that she accepted it gladly and rejoiced that it was fully paid for and functioning perfectly. She placed the letter in a desk drawer, marked the envelope, "My answered prayer, thank you, Father." The sequel's interesting. On the following Sunday, she went to her church. Hey, another good reason to come to church. And during her conversation with one of the ushers, she commented on his new and beautiful Cadillac. See, she's already noticing. She's keeping her eyes on things that she desires. He said, "I want to sell one of my cars. Do you know anyone who wants a good car?" She replied, "I do, but I only have $45 saved." The usher said, "That'll be all right. I have no storage space for it. Take the car for $45. Which she did. Her car's been functioning perfectly for over 2 years. This was back in the 60s. Before, she had figured it would take her about 3 years to accumulate funds for a down payment on a car, but she had claimed the car now with what? Gratitude, with thanks, with not only gratitude to whoever's going to source the car. We know who's going to source the car. It's the presence. It's the unlimited omnipresence of God, and that's always present. So when we can take delight in the Lord, when we give thanks for all of our good in the Lord, we're given the desires of our heart, the psalmist says. So here's our affirmation for gratitude up here on the screen. I am so thankful for the good in my life, and I'm happy to know there's always more coming. So do you notice some important words in that affirmation? What are they? More coming, yes. Thankful is an important word, and so thankful is an important 2 words together. And what was the other one? Happy. You know what that does? It tells your subconscious, oh, something good's going on. I should agree with that. Yeah, so that is one of the steps in our maintenance guide to prosperity consciousness. And then the last one we'll talk about today are our words. So we know that the words that we speak are creative agents, and they create for good or for bad. So this all depends on the kinds of words we're saying, because every word that comes out of our mouth usually brings up a feeling of some kind, of like kind, until it becomes strong enough that now it's a belief of like kind, so that our words, our thoughts, our feelings are all generating at the same frequency. And of course, our law says that that which we are, that which we give out, we receive back to us. Let it be done to you as you believe. So pay attention to the words that are coming out of your mouth, because they're getting implanted in this realm of spiritual substance, and we're forming it with that faith and imagination, whether it's for what we want or what we don't want. So if you're not seeing your prosperity manifesting, just pay attention to what's coming out of your mouth. What have you been saying lately about your prosperity? About how I can't afford it, or how it's really, the stock market is really tanking and there's never enough and I'm losing all the money that I've invested. Yes, just keep saying that, please. No. Notice, catch yourself, choose something else. Speak words that affirm truth. God's infinite substance is always present and provides for my every need. God's infinite substance is always present and provides for my every need. Say that with me. God's infinite substance is always present and provides for my every need. See how good you are? See how easy that is to focus in the present moment with God as the source. Use words that focus on what you do want. The scriptures in Job said, you'll decree a thing with your words, and it will be established for you. You didn't even know how to make it happen. All you have to do is talk about it. So watch what you're decreeing. From the Psalms, it says, may the words of my mouth and the thoughts of my heart be acceptable to you, Lord. Be acceptable, it means be in alignment with. It's thinking and talking as Spirit would say. Our words are powerful. So let's affirm this about our words together. I consciously speak words that affirm God's goodness in my life. So it may take some time to make sure that you're naturally following these steps, these maintenance steps, to change your subconscious, because that's the consciousness that needs to be rewritten. That's the part of ourself that usually mucks up our grain combine. But if you are committed to experiencing prosperity in your life, you must be committed to keeping your equipment working properly so you can harvest from this realm of substance. And we're going to go through a meditation here in a minute to help you do that. But let's just summarize what we talked about today up here on the screen. First of all, we're going to meditate on God as your all-sufficiency. Am I in the way? I'm asking Belinda that. Okay, and then secondly, we're visualizing not the thing, but substance as the bridge that's connecting us to our infinite channels. Thirdly, we're using love. That's what we're using to direct that substance. We are free to give our substance away as love because there's plenty of it. Thirdly, we're using gratitude until we can feel the joy of the good that we've already received and that's on its way. And fifthly, that's funny, words. We're going to speak only words that affirm the desires of our heart. So you want to take this into meditation? Me too. All right. This meditation, I think I'm just going to leave money laying around on the floor everywhere because it's just like, oh, look, more money. It's everywhere. Okay, so this meditation is going to be an example of how to meditate on substance. So let's begin by just turning away from all distraction. It might help you to close your eyes. Just do a quick scan through your body to see if anything needs to be blessed or loved on a minute till it feels better. and release that tension with your breath. And in this sacred space, I feel, I know Spirit as the presence both invisible and visible. I sense this substance behind and underneath all things. The spiritual energy is the substance of all creation. In my mind's eye, I look out across this planet at all of nature, and I see it glowing and sparkling. For it is all sourced from this infinite realm of substance. I draw my attention back to myself and recognize that that same plentiful substance is flowing forth from my own being. I am substance expressing, mind, body, and spirit. The I am presence within me is a constant, bountiful force without end. I embody the infinity of this flow. I release its fullness into the world to prosper all beings, including myself. And I see this substance as a light stream connecting me to all beings on the earth. Like a fountain, this light is radiating from me and encircling the globe. And as the light connection is made between me and the world, I see the visible supply returning to me in waves of good, rolling, flowing to me from every direction, back to the very center of my being where it began. I let these waves of light engulf me. And as my good returns, I see myself using this supply in peace, and love and joy. This light stream is a bridge my visible supply travels from me to the world, from the world back to me. I maintain this light bridge with a heart of love. My thoughts, my feelings, my words, my actions are all guided by love as I guide this divine connection. This light is lifting each soul. Each soul on the planet is a new vibration of abundance. As my stream of divine substance flows from my heart to theirs, all beings are attracting this light stream without exception, receiving it gratefully, and joy and gratitude on their faces, feeling thankful to God as their needs are met. I feel more prosperous than ever before as my supply easily returns to me through God's infinite channels of substance. And I see this prosperity going to work in the most useful and loving and productive and supportive ways while I feel grateful. Thank you, God, for my source of unlimited, constant, abundant good. There is nothing I need do to manufacture this, but to simply say yes. Yes, God. Yes to my good. Yes to divine substance. And I am grateful. Amen.